Um, the first thing that comes to my mind is it's such an incredible environment and then a hard place to play. And there's different types of wins. And to be able to win here, I'm really proud of the guys. That Auburn team is difficult to stop, and they have so many threats. And in this building, I just think they play at a high level. And for us to have a response after we played poorly against Oklahoma, and we wanted to show that wasn't us, that didn't feel like us, and then to be able to bounce back here, and then we just had to deal with so much adversity and not cave in, and we just kept having responses with foul troubles and lineups, and we got some injuries and things like that. The guys were just set on getting a win, and I thought they just had a tunnel vision on getting that.
Coach, first win here in a decade for Vanderbilt basketball. You talk about the injuries and guys that didn't get to play. How did you power through that as a team, and what does this win mean moving forward for your squad?
Yeah, I mean, my big guys played really well today. And, with Jalen Washington and Devin McLaughlin, and we were in a bigger lineup, and we got thrown off with A.K. Okereke getting foul trouble. This is back-to-back games in the first half, and that kind of hurt us. But I think those guys stepped up. Really just kind of made plays, and we got to reinvent ourselves. I mean, we looked a certain way in December. We looked a certain way in January, the first couple of weeks, and now right now, and we're still fighting. And I know it was a funny stat after we lost to Oklahoma, and this is a way of framing things, and the stat was that we're 3-4 in our last 7 games, and maybe now they'll say they've won 4 of their last 5. I'm more of an optimistic, sunny type person, so maybe that'll be more the line.
Coach, Tyler Tanner made a couple really difficult shots. Just how comfortable are you with the ball in his hands? What kind of difference does it make to have a player like that?
Yeah, I mean, he has my utmost trust, and I feel comfortable. Our team feels comfortable with him making a play. He just puts so much pressure on the defense. He just goes after him, and he's got a baby face, but he is very, very competitive, and so I think we're feeding off his competitiveness, and for him to be able to play the minutes he did under the pressure he did, I mean, we don't have another option right now. So he knows lots on his shoulders, and he's delivering.
Coach, your team shoots 77% from the free throw line tonight. You were 26 of 30, possibly an elementary type question, but what does the free throw line mean, especially when you're on the road, to handle the runs that the home team's going to give you throughout the night? Yeah,
we knew Auburn was going to fight back, and we did a great job of not turning the ball over to get to the free throw line. And I thought our guys came to the ball and showed composure. But that was the first part. And the odd thing was we had a terrific free throw shooter go 0 for 2 in that segment. It's something we work on. Our guys like being in this situation, and you have to do something like that to beat a good team on the road. I mean, you can't go up there and shoot 60% or we're not winning the game.
Coach, Jalen Washington probably had the most efficient night on the floor, 7 for 8. Did miss a free throw tonight with 22 points. Can you talk about what was working out there for him tonight?
Yeah, so proud of him. He's a people pleaser. He wants to make people happy. He's such a good person, great heart. And, for him to go out when the team really needed him, like right now, like this is the night, like we really needed him to play that well. And he was making threes. He was finishing around the rim. He was rebounding with presence. And his defense was great. We lost things when he wasn't on the court defensively. That hurt us when he was in foul trouble. But I could tell you this, I'm so happy for him, and I could tell you everybody in the locker room is so happy for him just because of the type of person he is.
Auburn was 11 for 27 on layups. I guess what was the plan to stop, especially guys like Keyshawn Hall getting to the basket, and what do you think it was that you guys did that made Auburn so uncomfortable around the rim?
Yeah, we wanted to take away the uncontested layups where they saw a clear look at the rim, and we wanted to try to shoot into bodies. And we did a great job of getting there and getting vertical, of trying to make them score over us. And, it was one of those things we were going to see if they'd make the pass out of there. And then if they missed a shot, we had to get the rebound. And times we did and times we didn't. But it definitely was a game plan to make sure that we're staying vertical in there. We're trying to make them go through us.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
just started radio, so he'll be in like 5 minutes.
credit to Vanderbilt. They did a great job. Came out and played really well early. I thought we had a great environment tonight again, and just want to continue to thank our fans for hanging in there with this team as we're trying to work through some things. And they did their part, and we didn't do ours. So for that, I apologize. I got to do a better job as their coach in these situations. But I thought Vanderbilt came out and. That's the second game in a row where we had a defensive breakdown on the first possession and they make a three. And, that does wonders for your confidence when you're able to come out and hit your first shot like that. And, so that was a big start. They had some real step up from their bigs. Washington and McLaughlin played great. McLaughlin made some big ones early in the first half to kind of, keep us at right around 8 to 10. And Washington, he's made 6 threes on the year and, makes 2. So, they had some real step up, and, Tanner does a great job. Got to the foul line 13 times, had 6 assists, 1 turnover. So we didn't do a good enough job disrupting them defensively. And that's on me. I got to switch some things up defensively in some of these games, and we did that in the last 10 minutes, and it was effective, but we got to do that earlier. And offensively, I just thought, in the first half, we were 4 for 18 from 2. And one of our biggest emphases was really attacking the paint, and I thought we did that a lot tonight. And, I'm not, I thought we should have gotten to the foul line more in the first half, just based on how aggressive we were attacking downhill. I think, the lack of us getting to the foul line led to some frustration, and it kind of carried over. So we got to do a better job of controlling our emotions, not interacting with the officials as much because they have a tough job. And, I thought that last, 8 minutes, the group we had out there did a great job of really fighting back and putting us in a position to, cut it to 4, and we get a stop, and we have a shot to cut it to 2. And, they did a great job executing down the stretch. And, another disappointing result. But, we continue to have great opportunities in front of us. We just got to find a way to, we got to improve. We got to get better. So, any questions?
Coach, Saturday you said you needed your best players to play better defense to win. How did you assess your best players and the defense that they played tonight?
Yeah, we did a good job on nickel. 3 for 12, only 10 points. Tanner is 6 for 16, but he gets to the foul line 13 times. So we really talked about limiting those two. And, I thought for the most part, he got to the foul line probably 6 times late. So I thought we did a decent job on those two. They just had some real step up from some of their, other guys. And, good teams will do that. And, Washington having 22, that, wasn't something that was on my bingo card. But, credit to him, he played great. I think I'll have to watch the film. I can just kind of see. But I thought, the effort was there. I thought the execution wasn't. But part of that's on me, too. I got to do some things defensively to get us a little more active, flying around, and trying to be a little more aggressive like we were at the end. So we got to do some more of that moving forward. So that's on me as their coach. I got to do a better job of putting them in positions to make plays.
Coach, 26 minutes for Keyshawn Hall, was not on the floor down the stretch. Seemed like it was after the technical foul that decision came to not put him back in. Can you kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, I just went with the guys that I thought put us in the best position to get back into the game, and we ended up cutting it to 4, and that group did a really good job of just grinding and fighting and clawing back in. And Vanderbilt did a really good job every time Key had the ball, just like plugging the paint, and made it really difficult for him. And our offense wasn't really in sync when he was on the floor, so wanted to give us a different look, and went with those guys. And I thought we had a lot of good minutes from Elijah. I thought Elijah played well. Obviously, he didn't shoot it great, but got 8 big rebounds, and was really aggressive. And it was just it was a coach's decision. I just wanted to go with the group that I thought was going to help us get back into the game.
Would you make it Tahad in the second half? Really felt like he was speeding the game up and gave y'all a chance to come back. Is that something you'd like to see kind of more out of him moving forward?
Yeah, he's had 2 pretty good offensive games. Another game where if he's 1 for 6 from 3, like I thought 2 or 3 of them were down. 4 assists, 1 turnover. He's had 11 assists and 3 turnovers in the last 2 games. So that's good. Tahad, took some coaching this week about, his off-ball positioning, and he did such a great job in practice this week of just like trying to coach guys through things. And just want to give him some credit on that because I've been pretty harsh on Tahad in some of these pressers because he's one of my best players and I expect a lot out of him. But I thought he really battled tonight. I thought he really put in a great effort. And that's something we're going to need from him moving forward. So I'm glad he's playing with a little more confidence. He did our best job getting downhill and finishing at the rim. I think he was 6 for 12 on twos, got to the foul line. So did a good job getting us back into it. And I thought he had some ones that were halfway in down the stretch that could have changed the game.
You mentioned the effort being there on defense, but the execution not necessarily being there. I guess, how did you see the guys respond leading up to this game after Alabama? And I guess, where do you guys go from here if, now it's the kind of issue is shifting a little bit?
What'd you say at the end?
I guess, where do you guys go from here if, you say it's not as much an effort issue, but more execution?
Yeah, we just gotta, we gotta stay consistent. Like I know, people are gonna be panicking right now, but if you look going into this game, based on our adjusted efficiency, we've been the second best team in our conference going into this game. So while the results haven't been there, like this team has continued to get better. So we got to just trust what we're doing, but we also got to tweak some of the things that we're doing defensively to try and be a little more aggressive in some of the things that we're doing to give us an opportunity to make plays and not let teams be comfortable in what they're doing. Because we've shown that we've been able to win some games with our defense this year when our offense wasn't going. We didn't do that tonight. We shot 32% in the first half, and they shot 57. So they did a really good job of executing in the first half, and our defense just wasn't as good as what it was in the last 10 minutes. So I got to do a better job getting these guys prepared, and I got to do a better job of making adjustments in game to give us a better chance to win these ones.
Stephen, the technical after Vanderbilt hit that three, just I guess what was the explanation from the officials on that?
Mine or KO's?
I guess just them talking to you, just what, I don't know, like what did they tell you about, I guess, blowing the whistle on that?
On my technical or on my, okay. I said that was a big call because on the pressure when they called the foul on Tanner, he had already passed the ball. So I thought there was no advantage. There was no disadvantage to the contact that we had in the trap. So I thought since he got off of it, I didn't think the call needed to happen. Usually they call those things when there's an advantage for the defense, if that makes sense, right? So I thought since he got rid of it, I didn't think you needed to call that in that moment. So as he's running down, I said that was a big call, and he teed me up, and he said I cussed at him, and I was mic'd up tonight, so maybe I got to check the feed. But I asked my bench, like, did I cuss at him, and they said no. So really disappointed, like I've tried to pride myself in not really getting after the officials. I just slapped the video board to try and, take my frustration out on something. But yeah, I mean, I didn't curse at him. I just said that was a big call, man. Like that was it went for a 6-point game, and then I think they got to stop and came down and scored again. So it was just like felt like a big shift in momentum on a call that I didn't think needed to happen. But those guys have a really difficult job. There's a lot of contact in that game. And, disappointed though, because I got a lot of respect for those guys, and I would never, berate them or curse at them like that. So yeah, didn't think I earned that one.
Stephen, a couple times, over the last 3 or 4 games, you guys have fallen in a hole pretty early on. Just how difficult does it make it to fight back kind of in the second half, and how does that change the game?
Yeah, I mean, Alabama game, we were up 10, so that wasn't really an issue. At Tennessee, we got down 14. Texas, we got down 14, right? So, and then tonight, we get down 15 in the second half. So, yeah, we got to do a better job of – we might have to switch up some things. I don't know if that's the answer. It'd be helpful if we could win a tip. I feel like we lose one every game, and they get the first possession. So, we got to do a better job starting off defensively and getting stops because, in that 4-game stretch where we won 4 games, like one of the commonalities was we got to stop on our first possession in all 4 of those games. So we got to do a better job starting out games because, it's in this league, like there's a lot of good teams, and if you get in a double-digit hole, it's really hard to come back. So we got to do a better job of getting off to better starts, and, 3 of our last 4 we've got off to bad starts.
Stephen, how important is it going to be to protect home court from here on out? Obviously, these are a couple good teams analytically that you just lost to, but the opportunities and the resume sort of down the stretch the last few weeks of the season, how important is it going to be to maybe get some of those games back on your home floor?
Yeah, I can't really think about those games. I got to think about Arkansas because they're really good. So for us, it's we can't get too focused on games 3 or 4 down the road. We got to get ready for Arkansas, and we got to find a way to have a great practice on Thursday. So, but protecting home court is really important. One, because obviously it's disappointing because we had 2 teams that were really good, that had good analytics, that could have really helped our resume, and we lost to both. So missed opportunities there, but we got to go find a way to steal a couple on the road, and then like you said, try and protect home court later in the season. But the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we refocus and come back ready to go on Thursday.
You mentioned earlier, but Elijah not being able to play as much because of foul trouble in this game. He's +8. SEC high for him in minutes, obviously with Key being out. But just what did he bring for you specifically, and kind of how can he build on this moving forward? As a player, making an impact for y'all.
Yeah, I mean he's coachable, plays hard, does all the little things that we ask of him, and I know he has so much more to offer offensively that I'm really excited to be able to tap into at some point. But he's a good teammate. He's been patient. He's waited his turn, and I love that he was able to play more tonight and be effective. Only had 1 foul tonight, so yeah. I mean it's great to have him out there because he rebounds the basketball. He's got great length. To be +8 in a 8-point loss, that's significant. So that's something that we got to look more into and look to try and get him some more minutes. Thanks, guys. I didn't. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.